If I had to choose one word to capture what had transpired this weekend, unpredictable. Welcome to All Talk, All USL Talk. USL, come on, the latest scores, news, and developments. In the second highest division, the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I am your host, as always, Vince Galvano. Happy Monday, August 24, 2026, episode 102. Talk USL 26 of season 3 of Talk USL. And soccer is on the forefront everywhere and anywhere. I'm talking, it was a weekend full-fledged. I mean, England's back now in the Premier League. La Liga has returned. Serie A has returned. There was the Franz Beckenbauer Cup between Dortmund and Germany. I'm talking about just all things soccer. And then the USL, it was like, hold on, we need to change things up. We need to shift things around. It was a full-on lottery weekend, unpredictable. A few teams pulled numbers that changed their season, that just brought them fortune. A few others look like they lost the ticket completely. Maybe talking about OC in that realm, but I want to focus on the positives. I really want to highlight some wonky things, but some really cool things, and give some shout outs to maybe a player that hasn't been shouted out enough. I think we got a player in Phoenix who is starting to just make this season a memorable one, feel more than a good run of form. I wouldn't even call it a hot streak. I think we're watching one of the league's breakout attackers sort of fully arrive in this sort of pinnacle of his career. You know the name. If you're in Phoenix, you know the name. If you don't, we're going to talk all about him. That's for sure. And then El Paso and Colorado Springs towards the tail end of this weekend gave us one of the strangest debut Spectrum storylines of this season. And Houston Dynamo too had a role to play in there. Colorado Rapids had a role to play there. And you just saw a great debut and then a debut that went completely wrong. And I don't think you'll ever have that in sort of this manner. Then we have history, and history is always great. I'm talking LIPAFC's back. LIPAFC is back. Indy taking on Louisville City, and the result went in Indy's favor for the first time in 4 years, which is crazy to see. So that's history there. Tulsa, hat-trick history. We got to talk about Jacksonville making history in their first ever road win as a franchise, and a great result for Detroit, who really just starting to separate themselves from that sort of second place bunch in the Eastern Conference, because you just got a wild package of teams in there. I'm talking Charleston Battery, I'm talking Louisville City, I'm talking Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and then you have Detroit, because as we know, cushion-wise, Tampa pretty much have it all set in stone, at least I feel. So, who's the second best team? And that's a very competitive bracket in itself. So we got results across the table that might look small now, but could feel massive when the playoff race tightens, and then when it comes to who's hosting, who's not for these playoff knockout rounds. So let's get into it. As always, you know where to find me. Talk USL on social platforms everywhere. And you can always DM me there or just write me an email at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. I want to shout out a couple of guys at the Rhode Island fan podcast, Raising Anchor, gave me a shout out. They listen every week. We're also, featuring me, and they do great work when it just comes to gathering the podcasts that are taking place all throughout the USL Championship. Which ones are dormant, which ones are still going. Beginning of each season, since I'm now on Reddit, they shouted me out a while back, and I just showing some love in their direction. So shout out to Raising Anchor from Rhode Island. Just always great podcast throughout the entirety of the USL Championship. Not just covering the league as a whole, but I'm talking specific teams. And that's certainly one of them. USL Championship Fan Choice Goal of the Week for Week 24. 4 candidates, a Pittsburgh player, an El Paso player, a Tampa Bay Rowdies player, and a Colorado player. It went to Tampa Bay Rowdies' Louis Perez. The French midfielder put the game out of reach with a stoppage time goal, connecting on a lofted pass and rocketing the ball past Rhode Island's keeper last time around on August 15th. It was a beautiful goal. 2 great goals in that game. We talked about it last time around. And then second place went to Juan Tejada of Colorado. Colorado attempted an astonishing 46 shots in that game against Birmingham. Well, maybe what could have been a warning sign for this weekend with Sporting Jacks, but 2 of which resulted in second half stoppage time goals. Tejada had the winner, capitalizing on a beautiful play on a free kick. And Birmingham get burnt again in stoppage time. We got that to talk about. Also, kind of like between Lexington and Indy, there was, cordial handshakes being made. September 7th, by the way, is the day where all this transaction windows close. I mean, it's going bonkers right now in Europe when it comes to the August transfer window. But for the USL standpoint, comes to an end on the 7th of September. Lexington add Noble Okello via transfer from Indy 11, and Indy 11 brings aboard Joe Hafferty and Malik Henry Scott on loan from Lexington. So really kind of a two big swap there of, solid players that do have some experience across their belts, under their belts, I should say, in all of it. But let's get into the midweek fixture, which was Phoenix taking on Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And in this one, Wednesday night in the desert, Phoenix Rising opened the scoring in the 35th minute when Diego Gomez found Ihsan Sacko inside the box, and Sacko finished past Herrera to make it 1-0. Colorado Springs did answer before halftime through Adrian Perez, who lifted a close-range finish over Patrick Rakowski after Juan Tejada and debutant Bryce Jamison. That's right, the former player that was playing last season at Orange County, now finding his football boots on loan at the moment for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. So that's something that also had happened and occurred quite recently. They combined to set him up there. So Perez gets the goal to level it before halftime. Phoenix retakes the lead through Murso's ball into the box, deflected off of Matt Mahoney, crossed the line for an own goal, and then it was Gunnar Stutenhoft sealing it in stoppage time, winning possession and finishing in the 91st minute to give Rising that 3-1 victory at home. Colorado did have, almost 60% of possession, but Phoenix made those key moments count with that second half own goal, putting it in a dangerous area, and then at stoppage time insurance finish. And then Bryce Jamison making a nice impact in his Switchbacks debut. And then we talk about Ihsan Sacko giving Phoenix the breakthrough, scoring the opening goal in the 35th minute, and helping set the tone for a needed team response. His post-game focus was clear. Keep building confidence, chase the playoff places. And maybe we can even jump ahead. I was going to talk about it later, but we're going to go into Sacramento taking on Phoenix that had happened over the week in one of the later fixtures. And Ihsan Sacko saves Phoenix after Sacramento lets a 2-goal lead slip. So Sacramento in this game over the weekend against Phoenix, they had control early at Hart Health Park. They jumped out to a 2-goal lead inside the opening half an hour. Tyler Wolff powered a header into the left corner from Malongo's cross, giving Republic the perfect start. 7 minutes later, it's Crisostomo challenging a midfield pass. He sends the ball straight to Memo Rodriguez, who controls it quickly, chips the goalkeeper from 25 yards out to make it 2-0. It was a mistake pass out, and then quickly just swept up by Sacramento, and just a nice finesse from Memo Rodriguez to give Sacramento a 2-0 lead going into almost halftime. But Phoenix found a lifeline right before halftime. After winning the ball in midfield, the move came through Gomez, who found Sacko in the right channel. Sacko squeezes his finish pass Vitiello into the left corner. The lead is cut into a deficit going into the break. The goal, though, changed the mood of the match. Phoenix eventually finding its equalizer in the 85th minute. Tate Schmidt delivered a cross from left to the back post where Sacko produced a sharp volley finish back cross goal and into the opposite corner. Sacramento leading for 2-0, letting it, unfortunately, wasting a golden chance, but Republic missing the opportunity to move within a point of the top of the standings. But Sacko is carrying Phoenix playoff push. His brace brought him to a 12 regular season goals, tying him for the league lead. Now we should start talking about him a lot more. And in particular, I think what makes this year stand out is goal scoring, all-around attacking output, and then this sort of match-winning influence having a huge influence on what the end result will be. Points in the right direction. Sacko's combined volume, decisive moments. He has now 12 goals that put him ahead of every other USL Championship player as of this past weekend. Earlier this season, he was leading the scoring race, 8 goals after that 2-goal performance against Sacramento back in May. And then it's just like, here, they trail twice. Sacko scores both goals. And we could say 5 of his first 9 league goals come from penalties, but 59 shots, chance creation numbers, multiple braces. And looking at his playing career, it's a fascinating one. He's 29 years old, born in 97, coming from France, had his youth career in Strasbourg. The B team, being a standout player there. Lower division France, we're talking, scoring a couple goals in those opening seasons, a little bit here, and then eventually gets the call up to Strasbourg when in the 2016-2017 they're playing in Ligue 1, which is the second division of France. Gets 3 goals there, plays the next season in Ligue 1, doesn't score any goals, goes to Nice, plays in the reserve team for Nice, then gets called up in Ligue 1 in the 2017-2018 season for Nice, plays even in the Europa League match, plays 3 seasons at Nice, top tier, and then he would move back to Ligue 1. So he was going between Ligue 1 and Ligue 1 in France. Troyes, he plays half a season there, gets 3 goals in 15 appearances, goes to Cosenza in Serie B in Italy. No goals there, but plays 21 appearances for them. Goes back to France, plays in lower league France for the reserve team at Nice, then plays for Avranches over there. Scores 12 goals for them in National 1, which I think is, I want to say, either 4th division or 3rd division in France. And then goes to Switzerland, plays in the Challenge League there for FC Thun, scores goals, plays a full season there, 7 goals and 34 appearances in the league, plays the next season for half, and then gets signed by Phoenix. And FC Thun now, you look at them, they're one of the breakout teams in Switzerland. I should know this since I'm located over here. But they were just, playing games, qualifying a little bit, even in the Challenge League. They're back now into the Europa League qualification. They didn't make it. They lost to Lech Poznan 7-0 which is a Polish side, a very famous Polish side. But they're back in the top tier of Swiss football, which has been huge for them. 1 win in the past 3, but that's besides the point. It's just a really interesting career for Ihsan Sacko, and I think maybe this month he might be able to be a contender for Player of the Month, and we can really start talking about him much more. But the guy is just reliable. He's having a great season, and it could be one of those seasons that maybe sparks a return overseas or just to the MLS. We don't know. I can't imagine him being a Phoenix Rising player after this season. I kind of look a little bit to one of the Curacao internationals that was really good for Phoenix, had scored in that matchup on CBS. I'm talking Margarita back in the day in that match against San Antonio last season. Now he's playing in the Belgian Second League, got promoted to the Belgian First League. So just finding these players, Phoenix gives some credit because it's really, really unique storylines. Also, I should mention, we know Cal Jennings was a big talking point for Sacramento last week. That transfer sending shockwaves was in our titles and so forth. He came on here in this match as a second half sub, subbing out Tyler Wolf in this one, the 72nd minute, but not much, only 1 shot, 7 touches, 2 out of 4 passes, so it didn't get involved too much. In the end, Tyler Wolf was the goal scorer in this one. Sacramento, it's a point drop, points dropped, you should say, but I just wanted to give a little bit of shout out to Ihsan Sacko on what he's doing right now at Phoenix because it is remarkable. All right, we're going to get into a couple of the other games. We'll get into, obviously, LIPAFC and that, but first I want to talk about Detroit's, not shock, we can say shock result, but it was a battle of the East. It was a battle of the East. Top teams over here in the Eastern Conference. It was always going to be a tough match. In Detroit, the opener night is a low-chance affair at Keyword Stadium, with neither side really creating a lot early, but in the 36th minute, Atez Diouf kept possession alive on the left side of the Rowdies penalty area after Tampa Bay tried to clear. From a narrow angle, Diouf squeezes his finish into the right corner to give Le Rouge the lead going into halftime. Detroit even almost added more around halftime. Diouf sending a high volley high, and a half volley high, and Darren Smith getting close early in the second half from Aiden Stanley's cross. Diouf stayed dangerous, later running on to Maxi Rodriguez through ball before cutting inside, forcing Waite into a low save. Tampa Bay finally pushes late. Russell Cicerone had a flicked header denied by Carlos Herrera. Hender Long had 2 late chances, including a stoppage time effort that Herrera sharply turned wide. Detroit saw it out, though, for a 1-0 win, and they end this winning streak that Tampa Bay has been on. It's a 4-game winning streak, and it's the Rowdies' first road defeat of the season. It was a tight match, not much separating the side, but Diouf was the one who scored the only goal. He finished with 3 shots, 1 chance created, winning 5 of 10 duels, adding 4 recoveries defensively, even putting the defensive work too. And it felt like a Detroit statement. Tampa Bay, obviously, they sit in that strong position. But Detroit showed that at home, in a gritty affair, low margin game, the details, the small chances, they can convert them and they can limit the league leaders to their fewest shots of the season, protecting the box and got that one moment that's all they needed. So now Detroit extend its undefeated streak to 4 games. They narrow the lead for Tampa in the Eastern Conference to, I think it's 9 points now. But they extend this unbeaten streak against Tampa to 6 games, and they hold Tampa on only 6 total shots. That's the key. It's the least amount of shots, few shots of the season for Tampa. It is the first road defeat of the season for Tampa. They snap a winning streak for Tampa. And guess what, guys and gals? They'll meet Detroit again at home on the penultimate weekend of the regular season. And it may be a preview. It may be a preview of what we can expect for the Battle of the East in the playoff season between Tampa and possibly Detroit, because Detroit at the moment are separating themselves from that competitive bunch in the Eastern Conference table. Charleston, to Pittsburgh, Louisville. You can maybe even add Indy into that mix as well. Maybe Rhode Island makes the mix, but I'm more talking about Charleston, Pittsburgh, Louisville, Detroit. Out of those 4 teams, which of those realistically are the ones to challenge Tampa on their clasp of what has been a phenomenal, stellar season so far? Can it be Detroit the ones to do it? Here we have some evidence that it may be. Birmingham now taking on Sporting JAX. I think Birmingham have lost their lottery ticket completely. I think these are 2 unfortunate losses back-to-back that really could shatter and crush hopes, dreams, aspirations, confidence, whatever you want to name it. Because in this one, they give Sporting JAX, a team that has struggled to find any form at all this past season, only their second win in 21 matches over here on the road. We got to talk about this game. Birmingham looked like it had found the first big moment at home in Alabama after a scoreless opening half. The host had early looks through Shashua and Damas after continuing to push after the break. Damas finally broke the deadlock in the 55th minute, guiding home a header from Shashua corner to make it 1-0. Sporting JAX, though, answers almost immediately. Gene Mota forces a save from Trevor McMullen, and from the ensuing corner, Daskalainen glances a header into the left corner to level the match in the 58th minute. Jacksonville then flipped the game in the 76th minute when Kuzain controls an attempted clearance outside the box, launches a looping finish into the top right corner, and now it's looking, oh gosh, here we go. Sporting JAX about to upset Birmingham, not so to speak, but you know what I mean. Birmingham find a way back. 90th plus 3rd minute, Romario Williams turns, finishes from 15 yards in the bottom left corner to make it 2-2 and rescue the point. Stoppage time now is just going beyond it. We're towards the 100th minute. And it is chaos in the box of Birmingham. JAX are pushing forward. The ball finds its way out to the right side of the box, and it's Al-Kak, the Palestinian, who floats a perfect ball into the box. And Danny Wilson's there to steer home the volley finish to give JAX a dramatic 3-2 road win, just their second victory of their inaugural USL Championship campaign. And Jacksonville deserves credit here. They respond twice in the road. They find a winner when the game looked distant for a draw. And from Birmingham's side, this is brutal. I mean, they led, they equalized late. They still walk away with nothing. They had also their hopes and dreams shattered last week against Colorado. So a team keeps dropping points from winning positions in heartbreaking last-minute moments. And it starts, is it bad luck? Is this becoming the story of the season? How's confidence now? It's going to be tough to turn around for them. They take on a Hartford Athletic side next time around as well, who have just finished making its way through to the USL Cup. They also took down Miami, so they've had a bit of a break. And now it'll be very interesting as they make that trip over to Hartford, what happens there, because this could really put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, of Birmingham's season, because they sit 7 points outside the playoff position. They take on the playoff position holders, Hartford, because they find themselves in 8th in the table. So do or die. I mean, you really could say do or die. If you don't walk away with something there, I mean, September is here, pretty much. September is here. So that's history in Sporting JAX for them. Second win, first ever road win in the championship. Now we go over to Orange County taking on Tulsa at Championship Soccer Stadium. Tulsa makes history here. They come flying out of the gates at Orange County, punishing the host almost immediately. Lucas Stauffer, Remy Cabral, both forcing early saves from Alex Rondo. Cabral's effort spills into danger in the 4th minute, and it's Ordonez was there to put Tulsa in front. The Guatemalan forward struck again in the 20th minute, capitalizing on an errant back pass before slotting his finish just inside the right post to make it 2-0. Orange County finds some life before halftime. Chris Hagart finishing from Tyson Epsey's setup in the 47th minute. The young center back finding him there to cut the deficit to 2-1. But then momentum for Orange County disappears. Rondo misjudges the long ball forward, and Ordonez finishes it into an open net, completes the hat trick, and there it is. That's the history there. And it was pretty much done, set, and dusted, except Tulsa really started to put salt in the wound, or rub sand in the wound of Orange County, because they turned a result into a rout. It was Pierre ripping a free kick inside the left post in the 6th minute before Logan Dorsey tapped home from Coley's feed. 3 minutes later, last goal happening in the 72nd minute, 5-1 victory on the road. A huge statement of a win from FC Tulsa. Ordonez owning the night. Hat trick, 5 shots, 9 touches in the box, and it is the 3rd player in Tulsa's championship history to record a hat trick. Obviously, the player of the match here. The other 2, do you remember? Do you know them? How about this one? Jesus Ferreira, the franchise's first hat trick, happening back in 2018 of September when it was the Tulsa Roughnecks. It was a 4-4 draw at Seattle Sounders FC 2. I find it ironic because now Jesus Ferreira is one of the strikers playing for Seattle in the MLS. And then you also have Lucas Sawinski, which happened back in 2022. FC Tulsa's first hat trick of the rebranded era and 2nd in overall franchise history. So now, Kimi Ordonez, 3 goals against Orange County, making him the 3rd in the club's full franchise history. And it also signifies one thing for Tulsa, that they're right back in the West race. 2 scoreless outings after this. I should say before this, the Citadels exploded for 5 and moved within 2 points of first place. Orange County, 3 straight league losses, 11 goals conceded in that span. Red flag at the moment for a team trying to stay near the top. That's something to be, pretty much cautious of a little bit, because you don't want to start slipping out of the top upper echelon of the Western Conference, because things are tight. Things are very tight in the West. I mean, you talk about that 8th place spot to the 1st place spot, only 5 points separated the 2. And now you're on back-to-back losses. The worst form in the Western Conference. Orange County are going to need to find their scoring boots again and get some goals, get a result against Oakland upcoming next week in the championship. So there you have it there. And then we're going to get into now Indiana taking on Louisville. It's one of the best rivalries in American soccer. The Louisville-Indianapolis Proximity Association football contest, LIPAFC. Nicholas Murray of the Rondo, the official USL newsletter, puts, that there are plenty of great USL rivalries, but there is still something distinctive about Indy 11 against Lou City. And, it has a perfect trophy, a beaten up construction barrel with an I-65 road marker stuck in the top. And I've always got fond memories of this game. I mean, it was really when we first started covering the league back in 2024, it was one of the matches that was a highlight match back in 2024. His first season covering it. It had network television debut, right? It was the first time that USL Championship was on a national broadcast game. Wilson Harris had the hat trick. Jansen Wilson scored his first professional career goal. Elijah Winder also added another one for Louisville, right? It was that phenomenal team of Louisville as well, setting records from there out. Also, we got to see a little bit of Jack Blake in that one, scoring for Indy 11. It was 8-goal thriller. It was awesome. And it was at Lynn Family Stadium, almost more than 11,000 people. So it really holds a special place in my heart, just from covering the league so far. And it's a game that I remember fondly. And it's just always nice when it's on the schedule. And this one also is plenty to remember here, especially for Indy 11. I mean, Louisville came in 4th in the East. Indy sits 6th and are trying to close that gap. Indy are also trying to end a 6-game winless run against Lou City in league play. Louisville hold the overall edge in this series. Indy's attack has created more than it has finished. Louisville's defense has conceded more than the numbers suggest it should. So something had to give in this match. And when you have players on Indy 11, and I'm gonna mention 4 players on Indy 11. When they all deliver, it's like near impossible that the result doesn't go in their favor. I'm talking the new standout keeper that they've signed, the defending champion in between the pipes, Eric Dick, who was the standout MVP of the final last year for Pittsburgh Rounds, who won the USL Championship. Then you talk about the midfield duo of Jack Blake and Aiden Quinn. They were on it in this one. And then just look up top to Bruno Rendon. And I feel like when those 4 players have a really good game, they complement each other and so forth, the result goes in the favor. So let's get into this one. Because Indy and Louisville, they trade early chances in this first LIPAFC meeting of the season. Indy getting a clearer look when Josh O'Brien beat Foundes only for Brandon Days to clear inside the 6-yard box. Jack Blake would also go close from left side of the area. In the 31st minute, the hosts find the opener. It was a Lou City turnover as they were trying to build out in their typical 3-back system. The pass gets cut out. Former Louisville captain Aiden Quinn knows I just need to hit this in the space to Rendon. Rendon, it's not the best ball, but he can run onto it, and he guides his finish into the left corner quite quickly. And boom, just like that, Indy in the lead. Louisville did make some adjustments at halftime. They came out a bit brighter. They finally find the response off of a set piece to the Devilla's corner, flicked on by who else but Kyle Adams. His header finds the left corner to bring Lou City level. The match turns almost immediately. Less than a minute later, Blake combines with Kitsa and strikes from 25 yards into the bottom left corner. A huge, really nice goal in front of the home fans of Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Lou City trying to throw a lot to just get something towards the end. They record the final 9 shots of the match. They finish ahead in shots, possessions, corners, and expected goals. Jake Morris, Evan Davila both had looks into the final half an hour, but Eric Dick and the Indy back line, they held on, and they see out the 2-1 victory. They end Lou City's 6-game unbeaten run in the rivalry, claiming its first LIPAFC victory since August 31st, 2022. My first sort of time seeing Indy winning this match since covering the league, and they end that drought. And Blake punishes Lou City's quick lapse after the goal. It was 48 seconds after Louisville equalized. Indy's win ending 1,452-day wait for the LIPAFC victory and boosting its top 4 push. 1,004. Think about how long that is. I'll give you another number, and I think it is, I want to say 4,830. And that was the days between the last time Jose Mourinho coached Real Madrid and to what had happened this past weekend against Espanyol in La Liga. So it's 4,830 days. That's a huge long wait. But also, this is another number, 1,452-day wait for a LIPAFC victory for Indy 11. Jack Blake, he delivered on all fronts, right? We talk about these players, right? Beautiful long-range strike. He had 5 shots, 24 of 32 passes, winning 8 out of 13 duels. Dick making 7 saves in this one. Rendon opening the scoring. It was his first goal since July 4th. And from Louisville, the bright spot, obviously, Kyle Adams getting his second goal for the club, both coming this season. So there you have it. But how does Louisville lose a match where it had so much of the ball and so many late chances? Because the details after big moments keep hurting them. Louisville improved after halftime, had enough pressure to take something from the game, but conceding less than a minute after equalizing is, just a lapse that changes everything. So it's their 6th victory overall in the rivalry series for Indy 11. Now Louisville dropping to 9 wins, 8 losses, and 4 draws, 31 points. They fell to 5th in the Eastern Conference, so it's still quite tight between those teams battling for second place there. But yeah, that's the unfortunate part. Simon Bird said Louisville lacked the aggressive intent in the first half. The head coach for Louisville was a bit too casual. He felt the second half was brighter, but not enough quality in the final third to turn in their favor. And congrats to Indy 11 getting their win for the first time since 2022 against their rivals. Brooklyn taking on Pittsburgh at home at Maimonides Park. Pittsburgh and Brooklyn opened cautiously in this one. Neither side did record anything on frame or just a shot in general the first 10 minutes, getting used to the atmosphere and so forth. But Brooklyn did have the first major chance when a ball into the box was turned on goal. Nico Capozano had got a hand to it, pushed it off the crossbar before Robbie Mertz cleared it. Pittsburgh's best first half look came from a Sam Bassett corner. We'll talk more about Bassett later. Jackson Lee denied Goldthorpe at the back post. The Hounds needed Capizano again after halftime. The goalkeeper starting Marcus Anderson, the 65th, and also pushing Froxton's header over the bar on the 79th. Then, in the 83rd minute, Junior Eto'o won a free kick just outside the box. And Sam Bassett curled a brilliant right-footed strike over the wall and inside the near post. So tough from that distance to curl it over the wall. He did it spectacularly. And Pittsburgh get the 1-0 win at Brooklyn, earning back-to-back victories for the first time since April, moving into the Eastern Conference top 4 picture. They stay unbeaten in August, 3-0-1, winning consecutive matches for the first time since April. But Capizano, 5-save shutout, keeping the Hounds alive. Brooklyn did have chances, but Capizano was massive for Pittsburgh here. And Brooklyn, at the moment, are just, they're slipping, and they're slipping fast. Back-to-back losses in the league. Their next match, though, is against Sporting JAX. The Sporting JAX side that they tied the first time at Hodges Stadium in the middle of July 18th to be exact. So it's a battle of the bottom. I mean, right there, you talk about games coming up. If Sporting JAX beat Brooklyn, they'll have more points than Brooklyn. Consider that just for a second. The team that we thought were down and out all of a sudden might be the ones coming from the dead and pulling Brooklyn into the grave that they've been sat in. That's, huge match. Could be a decider for maybe even some coaching changes. You never know. In that one. I think they can take some solace in the fact that Birmingham Legion at the moment is a team also out of form. So that's going to be very interesting. You want bragging rights, and these are two, franchise teams that come into the league this time around. They're just stuck at the Eastern Conference, the bottom of the Eastern Conference. We know in 2 seasons' time, this is something that can get you relegated, right? So we'll see what happens between those two, but that is definitely a match to watch this upcoming weekend. Bright spot wise, well, congrats to Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. He has now registered 100 USL Championship career appearances. So that was something nice to see, a nice milestone for him. Loudoun taking on New Mexico. If you look at Birmingham, Sporting JAX, and Brooklyn, Loudoun's the team just above them. And here, without Thor anymore, after he returned to Iceland, still trying to find goals. They did almost nearly strike in the opening 3 minutes at Segra Field hosting New Mexico. This one, Nihan Jabir finding space in the box, denied by Chris Shakes. New Mexico United goalkeeper coming up big again, turning James Murphy's long-range strike onto the post before Greg Hurst forced a save at the other end. The match shifted. 31st minute, Melto was sent off for his second yellow card, leaving New Mexico down a man for almost an hour. Loudoun piling on pressure from there, finishing with 24-7 shot advantage, but Shakes kept the door shut with key stops on Murphy and Salvatore Mazzaferro. The 0-0 draw, ending New Mexico's 6-game winning streak, but still give United a valuable road point in the Western Conference, considering they're playing down a man for more than an hour. Chris Shakes was the clear standout. He had 8-save shutout. He had 44 passes in the night, too, so they relied on him a lot to keep the possession. New Mexico under pressure for most of the night. He was the reason United left Segra Field with a point. And maybe you can even say that there wasn't the person that could put the ball in the back of the net for Loudoun. This is what we had feared the most. And this is like, you can't draw it up more when you lose such a pivotal striker who's got your leading goal scorer in a game where you're playing up a man for more than an hour. You outshoot the opposition 24-7 after the red card, and nothing to show for it. Frustrating. And New Mexico, for whatever you throw at them, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the Irish luck, whatever it is, they can't lose. They cannot lose at the moment. Lexington taking on Las Vegas. Lexington, in this one, hosting this time around, Las Vegas nearly caught them off guard inside the opening 2 minutes. It was high pressure, forcing a turnover from Semley before the goalkeeper recovered to deny Christian Pizzone. Almost a scary moment there. Lexington did settle, though. After that, Aaron Malloy twice threatening from distance. Xavier Zengwe heading wide late in a scoreless first half. And then after the break, Nick Firmino opens the score in the 51st minute, cutting onto his left foot, curling a low finish into the far corner. 161 seconds later, Marcus Epps combines with Philip Gundrum, finds the net with a deflected strike to make it 2-0. I think at this point they knew, wow, we just get the back-to-back blow to our opposition here. And they saw the result, ending Las Vegas' 6-game unbeaten run, jumping above the lights with 10 games left in the regular season. They rebound well here. Aaron Malloy, player of the month for July, winning 8 out of 8 tackles in the midfield. The most tackles won by any individual player so far this season. And it's Marcus Epps delivering a decisive second goal. It's like every time Marcus Epps scores, maybe Lexington just get the points. I don't know. We're on taking on Monterey Bay FC at Centerville Bank Stadium. Jorge Quizera is testing Fernando Delgado in between the pipes of Monterey Bay inside the opening match before Leo Alfonso opens the scoring in the 5th minute. Amos Shapiro Thompson intercepted a Monterey Bay pass, finds Alfonso in the box, and where he finishes low into the corner. This is Rhode Island's fastest goal of the season, coming in the 5th minute. Monterey Bay, though, they answered 16th minute through Sebastian Leggett, who tucked home Elijah Paul's layoff to make it 1-1. He's been finding his form late in the season. Right now for Monterey Bay, Rhode Island, though, keep pushing. The pressure finally pays off. After an hour of the matchup, Bacharach headed in Sukata's corner in the 66th minute before Grant Stillman buried a close range to put the game out of the reach in the 83rd minute. 3-1 win gives Rhode Island its 3rd straight home victory, its first ever win over Monterey Bay, and it moves the club within 5 points of a top 4 home playoff spot with 2 games in hand over their, counterparts in the Eastern Conference. So there it is, 4 minutes and 11 seconds, I should say. Not, 5th minute, but that's what they rounded up to on Fought Mob. That was it. And Bacharach was the one who delivered the goal-ahead goal. The diving header at the far post, converting that Sukata's corner for his 3rd goal of the season across all competitions. That was the decisive moment. Oakland taking on San Antonio on the road at Toyota Field. San Antonio got the scoring almost underway with Diego Pacheco's shot parried by Kendall McIntosh before the Oakland keeper had to recover to stop Christian Pirano's rebound in the 7th minute. After that early burst, though, clearly chances were limited, with Oakland not getting its first major look until Peter Wilson forced Petruni into a second-half save. Match turns late. San Antonio goes down to 10 men. Lucio Beron's 2nd yellow card. Stoppage time then. Oakland pushing, and it's Peter Wilson chasing a loose ball near the goal line. Was brought down by Petruni, converted the penalty himself in the 93rd minute. Oakland winning 1-0, snapping an 8-game winless streak across all comps, giving its playoff hopes a badly needed lift for sure. David Garcia anchored Oakland's defensive effort, winning 10 out of 11 duels on this one. San Antonio is suffering back-to-back league defeats for the first time this season, and now has been held scoreless in consecutive matches as well. We talked about Sacramento taking on Phoenix. Talked about Ihsan Sacko rescuing that point. The other match was the wonkiest debuts between 2 players you can really have. Houston Dynamo 2 announced on July 31st that goalkeeper Pedro Cruz will join El Paso in the USL Championship on loan for the remainder of the 2026 season. And then Wednesday, August 19th, Commerce City, Colorado, the Rapids announced today, or that day, that they had loaned Bryce Jamison and Jabari de Coutu to Colorado Springs Switchbacks of the USL Championship for the remainder of the season. As part of the agreement, the Rapids retain the right to recall Jamison and de Coutu at any time. I don't know if that's how I'm pronouncing his name right. So there you have it. Jamison, 20, we know, his first season with the Rapids after signing a contract in April of 2025. He did spend that remainder of the season at OC, and then has been playing with the Rapids too. And the second team, there you go, that you have that. And then you have de Coutu, who gets also a start in this one. It's 2-hour lightning delay. Swankiness already at Weiner Field. El Paso then had the better early looks with Rubio Rubin twice forcing saves from Christian Herrera. Colorado Springs answer with chances of its own. Bryce Jamison's 20th minute effort was denied by that debut El Paso goalkeeper Pedro Cruz from Houston Dynamo's second team. The match stays scoreless deep in the second half. Both sides searching for a decisive moment. 85th minute. Jones drove down the right, sent it across, it deflected before being redirected into his own net by who else but the new signing from Colorado Rapids, Jabari de Coutu. And Cruz then made a full stretch stoppage time save on Adrian Perez to preserve the 1-0 win. And Cruz's debut shutout pushes El Paso into first place fight. On the opposite side of the spectrum, de Coutu, who debuts here for Colorado, maybe he even played in the previous game for Colorado. I should check if he played in the midweek against Phoenix. Maybe it's not officially a debut. But nonetheless is, we can say, a home debut, that for sure. Puts the ball in his own net. I mean, that's just how does it happen? Like, how, I don't think you're ever gonna have a debut where one guy does a great shutout and the other guy does the own goal for the other team. That's the deciding factor. But massive debut for Pedro Cruz. 5-save shutout. He did have 22 of 26 passes completed, and his stoppage time save on Perez predicted all those 3 points. Charleston versus Miami was the other one, but I mean, holy smokes, this one was just a washout, literally, because they had severe thunderstorms impacting Charleston area on Saturday. That match moves to Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's the first meeting with Miami. Charleston and Miami are due for their first clash of the year this weekend, renewing a series that has historically been relatively even. Miami do hold a narrow advantage in the all-time series. 7 wins, 6 losses, 3 draws against the Battery. The Battery this time around looking to bounce back after their August winning streak was snapped in the road loss against Pittsburgh. Douglas Martinez got the Battery back into the game with a goal in the first half. The hosts obviously pulled ahead in the second half. Charleston ended the game shorthanded when Martinez was shown the yellow card. So now Miami instead are aiming to snap out of a winless run. They were destined to earn a point until Hartford scored the winner in stoppage time, which was officially credited as an own goal to goalkeeper Aguilar Room, guy who's got the most saves in a World Cup match, tied with Tim Howard. So there you have it. Charleston versus Miami postponed, and I was also on Instagram checking out just a little bit when they had announced it. I really feel sorry for some of the fans in Charleston, by the way, to just unfortunately they kept waiting around. It was raining. They weren't sure if they should start heading home, and the decision I think came after a couple hours, and then they had decided then, okay, now's the time to lead. You really want good foresight on that, better prediction, make the call sooner if possible, so that people making the trip an hour away, 2 hours away, as we know, the United States is so big that they can eventually get home at a decent time and really understand what the landscape of the situation is. Also, by the way, following Saturday's match, Danny Vitiello was the first goalkeeper to record 50 regular season clean sheets with a single club. So that was a milestone that had transpired this weekend for him. I mean, when you think of USL goalkeepers, you don't think farther than Danny Vitiello, to be quite honest. Kind of the first one that pops in heads. But Chris Shakes is making his point. You got Colin Shuttler as well. You got Eric Dick. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of great goalkeepers. Healer Room you could add to it. But Danny Vitiello is just one that's just so synonymous with Sacramento, and rightfully so. Okay, let's take a look at the table, and we'll look also at what's upcoming in the league. So we said Ihsan Sacko tied right now, top scorer with Darren Smith. There you have it. Top assists go to Charlie Ostrom, 7. Tampa Bay Rowdies. Jorge Hernandez in the list. Taylor Davila also on the list with 7 as well. I just double checked if there's anyone else in 7. Nope, just those 3 players. And then we'll start in the Western Conference with El Paso at the moment, who are leading. I mean, I don't know. You have 3 teams leading kind of Western Conference with 34 points. New Mexico with 34 points. Orange County with 34 points. El Paso 34 points. That's what the top of the Western Conference looks like. But New Mexico has 3 games in hand over El Paso and OC. Then 4th place is FC Tulsa with 32. They're tied with San Antonio, although FC Tulsa have a game in hand over San Antonio. 6th place tied Sacramento and Lexington. And then you have 8th place, 29 points, Las Vegas. Colorado Springs outside of the top 8 at the moment with 28 points, a point behind Las Vegas. Then bottom 3, Oakland Roots with 26 points, Phoenix Rising with 26 points, and Monterey Bay with 16 points. In the eastern side of things, Tampa Rowdies still holding a 9-point cushion at the top. But behind them, for the first time this season, Detroit City FC, 35 points to the good with that win over Tampa. And they take on Louisville next time around. So that's going to be a very good game. So they find themselves 2 points ahead of Charleston, 2 points ahead of also Pittsburgh, as they are tied for 3rd right now. Charleston and Pittsburgh with 33 points. 5th place, really say 4th place, Louisville City with 31 points. Behind them by 3 points. Indy 11. Tied in 6th with Rhode Island. And then 8th place is Hartford with 24 points. Outside of the playoff picture is Miami with 22 points. 2 points behind Hartford Athletic. 24 is that magic number in the East. Then 10th place, Loudoun United with 20 points. Birmingham in 11th with 17. Brooklyn in 12th with 13. And 13th place, still the worst team in the league, Sporting JAX, but may not be the worst team for long. because this Saturday, August 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, Brooklyn takes on Sporting JAX in Brooklyn. That match, definitely take a look for it. Tonight, you'll have Charleston taking on Miami, 7 p.m. Then Wednesday, August 26th, El Paso hosts Pittsburgh Browns at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. New Mexico hosts as well Lexington at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on Wednesday, August 26th. Then on Saturday, we mentioned also Brooklyn taking on Sporting JAX, but before that, we have Pittsburgh hosting Tampa Bay Rowdies at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. Hartford hosts Birmingham Legion at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Oakland hosts Orange County. Same time, Louisville hosts Detroit. Half an hour later, you have SC Tulsa hosting Rhode Island on Saturday. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. El Paso hosts Loudoun United. Half an hour later, New Mexico hosts San Antonio. And then at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, Monterey Bay hosts Sacramento Republic. Phoenix Rising half an hour later will host Indy 11, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. And then the final game on Saturday at the same time, Las Vegas Lights hosting Charleston Battery. So that is something to be in mind and keep that going for. I should see if there's any other games at the moment because I think we might have one coming up possibly on that Sunday or Monday real quick. No, yes, we do. It is Lexington taking on Colorado Springs Switchbacks at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Sunday, August 30th. And that's how things are looking in the USL Championship, football is just, and soccer is taking place all across the globe at the moment. And it was a wacky weekend, an unpredictable weekend, but it's just one of those weekends that proves why the league is so much fun. And it's always full of surprises. Until then, hopefully you guys have a great week. Still enjoy this summer while we have it. We're in August, last week of August, pretty much. And then we'll see what happens when September rolls around. But first and foremost, stay cool, stay healthy, and talk soon.